Good day, mates, and welcome back to game number 3 between eSaharaNaama and mouzHasu. My name is Coffee Break, and you are here watching the CoffeeCast Pro Edition. I am stoked for this game because in our previous 2 games, we have seen some awesome play. In game 1, we saw Hasu take out Naama with 1 gate Stargate play with Phoenix harass into just a massive ground army. And Naama, trying to do a 2-base timing push, was just not able to hold it off. In game 2, we saw Naama say, okay, in game 1 you went for a fast expansion. I will punish that with the 1-1-1. That is Marine Tank Banshee. And was able to do a lot of damage and just forced Hasu to GG out of that game. Hasu not having enough units to hold that off. We are spawning here in MLG Tal'Darim Altar with mouzHasu here in the top right and eSaharaNaama sitting down here in the bottom left. Now, I would like to say, while we are in these moments of the early game, if you have not already, subscribe to me on YouTube, leave a comment or a message, let me know what you like, what you don't like. It really helps me know what I need to do, how I need to do it. I had a couple comments a week back saying that I was having video quality issues, and I fixed that, I believe. And then I had a comment about not having enough game sound, so I was able to balance my game sound with my voice. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I do take your questions and your comments into consideration when I am getting ready to do these casts. Also, another way you can get a hold of me is coffeebreak1337@gmail.com. That is coffeebreak with an O, 1337@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me there, and I will do my best to respond as quickly as possible. Now, into this game. I love Tal'Darim Altar, especially when we spawn in cross positions like this, because it allows for such a huge, long macro game. Long macro game. And I'm actually going to be surprised if we see the same opening out of Naama, which has been that barracks factory play. I would expect to see a command center very quickly into this game, and a lot of players will do a 1 racks factory. A 1 racks expand, but it does not look like that, as we are getting a tech lab down on this barracks and a second barracks, so it looks like we might be seeing a concussive timing push. And come on, Mr. Probe, the probe did not get into the base, who is not going to see this tech lab going down, and that is kind of big. Now, we have been seeing Hasu go for this sort of 1 gate expansion play, but it doesn't look like he's going to be doing that this game, and I don't know why. Maybe he just has an inkling that Hasu is up to something. It looks like he will be getting a Zealot Starcraft to push down, maybe try to get a little bit of a scout into the base. Now, we do have a Reaper on the way, so already some interesting stuff happening in this game. A Reaper, and there's our concussive shells, so indeed we will be seeing, more likely than not, some sort of concussive shells timing push. And this Reaper could either be used to scout or could be put into the army composition. And Reapers are surprisingly effective against the Zealots, because they do a lot of damage versus light. A lot of damage, 9 damage with a very fast attack speed. Now he is jumping down the cliff. It looks like he will be going out for scouting purposes. I do not know if Hasu will see this on the way. It depends on the route that Naama takes. And it looks like Naama will be skirting around, maybe. He's going to see the Stalker coming in for Hasu. And it looks like he's going to try to evacuate that Reaper before it gets in range. And it does look like Hasu is going to be able to see that. So I hope that he does have a Stalker back to defend. He does indeed have a Stalker back to defend. Planting it up on that high ground. Hasu will be perfectly fine, and looking like he's gearing up for an expansion here. This probe might get picked off, which could prove a little bit annoying. No, it doesn't. Stalker does get 2 shots off, and there goes the Nexus for Hasu. Down here, doesn't look like we have an SCV. Now we're getting an SCV in position. Now we're realizing that he will not be able to do his timing push, as there are quite a few units on the field already. And maybe he'll push out, try to pick off a couple of units anyways. He might actually get a couple if he moves over to his watchtower, as he does have concussive shells finished at this point. And Hasu's going to want to move. I don't think he's seen those Marauders yet. And oh, he's going to at least lose the Zealot at this point. Hasu really shouldn't try to engage it, and it looks like he's going to just try to do whatever damage he can do here, as that concussive shell is going to prove. Oh no, moving 2 more Stalkers, and he might lose these 2 Stalkers as well. Looks like he does manage to get 1 Marauder. The second Marauder does fall, and actually a fairly even trade in that engagement. And it looks like this Marine's going to take a couple of shots before backing out as well. And this Stalker might actually indeed get that 1 last Marine. Resource lost fairly even at this point in the game. Just 100 behind is Hasu, with a few more units sitting up here. Hasu looks like he might want to do a little bit of poking and prodding, but has not pushed out to do anything like that yet. The expansion timing for Hasu much earlier, as this Nexus is going to be finishing now, and Naama's command center is only a little bit over 1/4 the way done. A few probes main darting over to the natural expansion now, and it looks like we are going to be seeing quite a push out from Naama here. He's pulled a few SCVs, 4 SCVs here, 5 SCVs, and it looks like Hasu's going to be caught maybe a little bit out of position, or is it Naama caught out of position, having to pull the rest of his army back, and this force for Naama is going to take a little bit of damage, but the force for Hasu, I think, is going to be in an even worse position, as these Marauders here with Stim is going to be able to chase these units down, and actually losing that Reaper in that engagement. It looks like Hasu might be forced to fall back, as Naama might be forced to fall back, as Hasu, these Stalkers, it's being surprisingly effective in this combat, considering that there were 4 Marauders in that group. So Hasu, with a couple of nice holds so far, this command center just now finishing up. Income shows that Hasu is actually only 4 probes ahead. I would expect him to be a few more ahead than that, but maybe he's using his chrono boost elsewhere. Yes, indeed, he is going for double upgrades now in this game. He's getting the ground weapons level 1 as well as the armor weapons level 1. This quick +1/+1 for Protoss, so potent, especially against well, I guess against any race, especially if you get your 1/1 much faster than your opponent's 1/1. In fact, I do not even think that there's an engineering bay down on the field yet for Naama. No, there is not. Now, I do know that Thorzane used to do a quick 2-2 with Thor push against Protoss, and really the only way that I ever saw a Protoss hold off against that was a quick 2-2 of his own, and it looks like Hasu is going to be going for just that, getting that second base early to allow him to get these 2 forges down very quickly, and with just a little bit of pressure, you can very safely be able to spend those resources on those upgrades. And once again, if Naama does not get an engineering bay down soon, he doesn't have one on the way now. If that is not started soon, and really a second one started soon, Naama is going to fall quite a ways behind in the upgrade battle, and that is never good. We do have Stim Pack coming out now. No combat shields yet. 1/1 just about to finish for our Protoss player, as well as a Twilight Council and another Gateway. So it looks like we will be seeing heavy Gateway play, which has really become the staple of the Protoss game versus Terran. With MLG Orlando, Huck really revolutionized that Gateway play versus Terran. I believe that is when it got the most popular. Weapons level 1 now on the way for our Terran player. Charge on the way for our Protoss player. And it looks like both players are very content with just sitting back and macroing up in game number 3 between these two players. Armor level 2 now starting for mouzHasu. Looks like he's just waiting for the resources to start ground weapons level 2. A few Stalkers sitting at this watchtower, as well as a Stalker at this watchtower. Now he's going to want to take a couple shots and probably back out with these 5 Marines pushing up as well. He would not be able to engage that. Combat shields on the way, so it looks like we will indeed be seeing a heavy barracks play out of Naama. So some pretty old style play out of Naama. That is never a bad thing. We have seen in the past couple of pro games that I've casted that going for these old styles of play, like Sheth was going to Zergling Muta, not nearly as popular anymore, but after that he was able to transition into Roach and Fester and do just fine. And so once again, you can see that these old styles of play are not bad whatsoever. Now we do have a drop coming out for Naama, and it looks like this probe will indeed spot this drop. I don't know if Naama will abandon it or if he even saw that Hasu saw it. But we do have a lot of Stalkers moving over here now to intercept. It looks like Naama is still on that steady course, and it looks like Hasu might be able to pick off a medevac full of units. No, the Stalkers are moving too far over. They aren't going to be able to catch it unless they move back fairly quickly. Now this dropship has stopped instead, and it looks like this probe over here has set up a forward pylon and is now looking to set up yet another forward pylon. And this is kind of a tense moment for both players. One pylon did get taken down for Hasu, so he's supply block now. And, oh goodness, this is very close. It just depends on where this medevac decides to move. If he wants to move over this way to drop into the main, that medevac will be scouted. But no, it looks like he is going to be moving up towards the natural base of Hasu. And these Stalkers will not be in position. There is no blink on the field yet, so some units will have to be morphed in. A very nice play by Naama in this case. I don't know if that was sheer luck or just game sense. Very quick reaction by Hasu, though, and there were charge lots here to defend. Not much damage done, except for a little bit of lost mining time. And now the Stalkers are going to be able to move back and intercept the dropship, and that dropship does fall with all 7 units inside, so that drops it Ooh, that is a nasty loss for Naama. It is now 101 to 97 supply. That did swing Hasu in just a little bit of favor. Hasu still just a little bit ahead in the Harvest Scout, but with the Mules, it is a very, very even game. Storm now on the way, as well as Armor level 3 and Weapons level 2 for mouzHasu. Only Weapons level 2 for Naama. So, Naama falling a little bit behind that upgrade count. We do have 2-2. We do have 2-1 for our Protoss player and 1-1 for our Terran player. And we do now have double upgrades on the way for Naama. So that is exactly what he needed to do to make sure that he did not fall behind in that upgrade count. Very heads-up play by him. We do once again have Storm coming out now. That will be very, very powerful versus biological build, especially because not only can you storm the units, but you can also feed back on top of the medevacs and kill those medevacs, or at least kill whatever energy they have on them, stop the healing power, and it looks like we are gearing up to take a third base for mouzHasu. Very smart play, especially since Naama already has his third base established and running as a planetary fortress. And Hasu is going to fall a little bit behind in that economic lead. In which case, as he is going to fall behind in that harvester count, and on top of the mules, then is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now Zealot does come down here and scout the third base for Naama, which is going to mean that Hasu needs to move out because he knows Naama has had that base just a little bit too long for his liking. And now the factory is going to be coming in to scout this. Does see the third base. Naama pushing, Hasu pushing out now. Probably going to be engaging third base. I don't know why he would push up the main ramp, even though this is a planetary fortress with a few well-placed force fields, which he does have the energy for. He could stop any healing that would go down on that planetary fortress. Ghosts now on the field, as well as personal cloaking for those ghosts. If he doesn't have Mobius reactor already, he will soon after that personal cloaking, as you do not want to forget that Mobius reactor. And it looks like Hasu is going to be looking to push up the main ramp, and the supply depot just getting finished. That was a waste of resources right there, and Hasu is going to have to fall back, as there are just too many biological units here, as well as a couple of ghosts on the high ground for that EMP. That is a huge biological army, and that storm is finished. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. A couple of Colossi mixed into this army, which is exactly what Hasu is getting now, would be exactly what Hasu needs to be able to counter this composition. Now, you did see the Templars moving ahead of the army to make sure they didn't fall behind. And it looks like they are going to be moving up to storm on top of all these SCVs and stuff. But the SCVs do fall back, and the biological army is there to engage. Now, there is one good EMP. There was only one enough storm, energy left for 1 or 2 storms. A very good storm does go down on top of that army. A second powerful storm goes down on top of that army. And that's going to be the fallback from Hasu. He knows that he cannot quite engage his army, and actually the army getting split in half right now. He could probably turn around and take that out. However, those EMPs were very, very important. Otherwise, I believe Hasu probably would have won that engagement, as there was enough for 6 storms. Maybe, what is it, 2 storms per Templar, I believe? There are no Templar left over here for me to check. There would have been enough for at least 6 storms on top of that army, and that is not a position you want to be in as a Terran player. But it looks like instead we will be seeing the switch over to Colossi tech for the moment, deciding not to dual tech, which is very smart when you're still trying to establish your third base. We do have a 4th base on the way for Naama right now, and Hasu's going to want to scout that if he doesn't want Naama to gain too much of a lead there. Hasu is not going to really be able to engage. There's a lot of units for Naama right here, and if there was a stim on this army, he could chase down all these units and clean up Hasu's army, but no, Hasu is deciding to fall back. There is one feedback going down on a medback, but at what cost? He did lose a High Templar there, and lost another one to the snipe ability of the Ghost. Also beginning to slip a little bit in this game. 3-3 now on the way for our Terran player. Shields level 1 now on the way, as well as extended thermal lance. There are 2 Colossi on the field, a third one being produced. I believe we might even have double Colossi production. There is one robo. There is the second robo in the back of the base. So yes, we do indeed have double Colossi production. Just a little bit low on gas, but that is A-okay. That is expected. Has a lot of stalkers in this army. Might want to switch a little bit over more towards the Zealot side of things if he wants to be able to keep up that double Colossi production. We do have a nuclear strike on the way, a nuclear bomb. That is going to be a very interesting play, and with that Ghost Cloak, that can prove to be very potent, especially if an observer is not in the position to defend against that when that nuke goes off. That can really just be annoying. It can either destroy an army, it can be used defensively to force an army back. And if you don't, if a Protoss player doesn't see it, he can just lose all his probes in one fell swoop, really. We do have arrow weapons level 1 on the way for Naama, so he does probably know about these Colossi. Indeed, he's making 2 Vikings at the moment to combat those. A fairly even game right now. Units lost shows that HaSu is just a little bit behind. Income tab shows HaSu ahead in Harvesters, but because of the Mules, just a little bit behind. And I would actually give the advantage right now to Naama, as Naama does have a very, very good army composition. Just a huge ground army, a lot of medevacs with a few Vikings on the way now. With Ghosts mixed in just to EMP, that is exactly what you want as a Terran player. And when I do hear the nuclear strike going off, I do not know exactly where. Where are you? There it is, going down on the expansion. There goes the scan so that he could see that, and it was scouted. This nuke will not be able to do enough damage. I believe that actually does 500 damage to buildings, so it will be able to take out a pylon or 2. Yes, 2 pylons do indeed go down, but the probe transfer is what is important, and HaSu actually is still capped out at 200 supply. So that did minimal damage. It really just kind of scared HaSu, I would say. I don't think it could have done too much more than that, but it does look like Naama might be able to scout out this 4th base for HaSu up in the north position here. And HaSu really cannot lose this, as Naama has been mining off of his 4th base for much longer. However, there is a little bit better of saturation going on for HaSu, and it looks like this is going to be close. Yes, indeed, Naama does know about this expansion. Deciding not to engage, as he does know that the Protoss army is about to knock down his army. And it looks like there's going to be a little bit of an engagement here. HaSu deciding to pull back, actually. Vikings a little bit ahead of the army. The blink really needs to finish that. There's going to be a blink under that army. And a very good storm catches a lot of units in the front off guard, as well as a few of the Vikings. And now Naama might be pushing in to attack this expansion, but that would put him in a very bad position to counteract this Protoss army. And it looks like we might be seeing the engagement here. A few Colossi volleys do go off from the Vikings. And now here comes the engagement. A few decent portions going down. Colossi being able to roast away at the ground army. No EMPs down on that army, I don't believe. No, there was a couple EMPs in that army, as those High Templar are out of energy. Really needs to turn those into Archons, and all the Vikings are going to fall, and the Terran army just gets decimated by storms and Colossi, and there's nothing left to combat all these Colossi. There are 4 Colossi left on the field right now, I believe, and HaSu just being able to demolish that Terran army in that engagement, and now the Terran army is on the back foot, running all the way back home. A lot of Ghosts did go down in that engagement, and it looks like there's just a small handful, no units in the green really yet even, and though there is the blink to jump up, catch these medevacs out of position, and it looks like HaSu in a very, very good position to take this game. Needs to get a forward pylon down if he wants to ensure that he can reinforce this army. A couple more Colossi are on the way somewhere around here. They're just being started at those robo facilities, and it looks like HaSu now moving down to the 4th base, and the most viable mining expansion other than the 3rd base for Naama. If he can take this out, he's going to be in a very, very hefty lead. And even the mass repair on the SCVs is not going to be enough, probably. No, indeed, it is not. The storm goes out on the SCVs just to make sure that falls in a minimal amount of time. Still no forward pylon, but I don't think it's going to matter at this point, as it is 191 to 145 supply. A few cannons being morphed in all around just to make sure that there are no drops going down. There is even a High Templar in position to defend against that, to feed back a medevac that might look to be dropping. HaSu, once again, maxed out 200, level 3 shield on the way. That is terrifying to go up against as a Terran player. Weapons level 2 for air on the way for Naama, as well as another nuke. That first nuke, very unsuccessful. Probably will use this 2nd nuke as a defensive nuke to force HaSu to fall back and buy Naama a little bit of time before the engagement. Every moment that HaSu waits in this game right now, though, is a moment that Naama can exploit to try to catch back up in that army value. I do not know if I agree with HaSu waiting so long. However, he did manage to bolster his Colossi counts up to 6, and that is a crap load of Colossi, if I may say so myself. And it looks like moving around the top, probably scouting out for another expansion, which he will not find. Here's the biological army for Naama. Once again, back up to Marine, Marauder, and a few Ghosts in the composition as well. 8 Vikings on the field, and the Colossi a little bit out of position. One Colossi is going to be picked off. That is weak from the earlier engagement. It looks like here comes our next engagement. The one storm does go down on the Vikings. Another storm, very nice storms on those Vikings, and it looks like storms are going to cause this Terran army not to be able to push up and try to take out the Colossi. However, there are a lot of Vikings here, but they are being taken out by all the Stalkers, and it looks like the Colossi are going to be enough to clean up the ground army while the Stalkers take out the Vikings in the air. And it looks like all the Zillas now have been taken out, but it doesn't matter, as most of the ground army has been evaporated by HaSu, and now the supply count's very even, 128 to 123 for a moment there. HaSu jumping ahead though with that warp in, and it looks like there's going to be a very close engagement. There are a couple of Colossi left on the field, now just one Colossi. A few more Vikings spawning joining in on the combat, and now it looks like Hasu is going to be forced back, but it's 128 to 103 supply, and definitely in Hasu's favor. And there's the congrats from Naama, and Naama leaves the game, a very well-mannered leave from the game, but my goodness, what an engagement from Hasu. Being able to focus fire all those Vikings down was really the key part of that engagement for Hasu. Make sure to keep those Colossi alive as long as possible. Use the Zealots as meat shields so the Colossi can just fry away at the Terran army. So even if there weren't force fields, it did not matter, as those Colossi able to just deal so much damage while the Zealots tanked all the damage. Very, very interesting game out of these two players. And once again, this is why I love MLG Tal'Darim Malter, because it is just such a big map, which allows for these awesome, epic macro games. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take a breath. Whew. My name is Coffee Break, and once again, if you have not yet, go to Facebook, type in Coffee Break, find me and follow me there. That way you can know when I'm going live and where I'm going live, which is twitch.tv. So that's Coffee Break with a 0. If you have not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, leave a comment, leave me feedback, let me know what I can do better, let me know what I'm doing good so I can do more of it. I thank you very, very much for joining me here on the Coffee Cast Pro Edition. And this is Coffee Break, signing out.